Hello, you guys. Hello. So, okay, I'm gonna get right to it. And you don't have to do anything in order to have a relationship with God. And so I'm gonna talk on the premise of my upbringing in the church. I thank God that I was raised in the church. Thank God that I wasn't raised as a Muslim or Buddhist or any other religion, because there are just some struggles of trying to come to the truth of knowing who the true living God is. And so I'm glad that I started in the right soil of who the true and living God is, which is Jesus Christ for me. And so anyways, I was raised, with some good pointers, but I also was raised with some things that I was taught that were wrong. And I'm so glad that I'm an intelligent person, and I was intelligent enough to ask questions, and I was intelligent enough to leave certain places that weren't fostering or cultivating intelligence and thinking for yourself and wanting to know God for yourself, So I thank God that I asked certain questions, and I'm glad that I did what I've done, and I'm on the path that I'm on, because it's helped me to experience certain liberties in the kingdom, in Christ. And so, when you're raised, with the mindset of like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and when you're raised like that, you program people to think that, dang, I gotta wait, so let me just go ahead and just, wait till I'm 44 to really live for the Lord. And you program folks to think that living for the Lord means I have to do something for him, first of all, for him to have a relationship with me. Secondly, I have to do ministry, a certain way, and that's relationship with God. And it's like ministry is completely separate, in my opinion, from relationship. And in regards to corporate ministry, in regards to, just on the basis of what we know ministry, on a general level, Now, if you want to get technical, and if you want to, talk about, the mysteries of God in ministry, we can talk about that, but I'm not trying to do that on this video. This is a quick video. But, when it comes to what we know as ministry in general, a lot of people say, well, let me live my life. Let me be young, and let me do all that I wanted to do that the church said that I couldn't do. And then finally, when I'm like in my 40s, when I've then lived my life and I've done, then now I can kind of slow down. And it's like, man, I'm so glad that I asked questions. I'm so glad that I, bucked the system. I'm so glad that I challenged the system, because, I found that you can live now. You can experience your liberties and joys now. You can experience life now. And just because you decide to do ministry with God doesn't mean that your life is over. Doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Doesn't mean that, you still can't have a, abundant and exciting life. And I think that, because we live in this particular culture now, I think that we have to appeal to the generation that we are currently serving, that we are currently trying to help. And so it's crazy to think that you can use the same cultural tactics that they used in biblical times on this culture. That's outdated. That's what they did back then. And this is a different culture, different time, different ways of thinking, different definitions of words, just differences of heart posture, there's differences from this generation and the generation in biblical times. You can't necessarily use the same type of generalities or cultural generalities for this generation. And so I think that even in regards to doing ministry, it's different now. We have technology. The world is smaller because we have technology. We have so many ways of reaching people now. It was different back then. They didn't have what we had. They didn't have the accessibility that we have now. You know what I'm saying? And then too, it's a different culture. They didn't have the freedoms that we have now. Back then, certain places in certain areas, women didn't have rights. There's so many things that people were bound in back then that they really couldn't operate in fully now. So it's just different. It's a different time. And I think that if you understand God's word for this generation, then you will flourish, and you will come to life can really be. You still have your challenges, you still have your struggles, okay? You know, that you can't go through this life without certain type of struggles. But what I'm saying is, you know, I think that you will find a comfort and find the beauty in doing relationship with God, you know, in this time period right now. So anyways, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. I love y'all.